All right, welcome to the Planet MicroCap Showcase Vegas 2024. I'd like to introduce our first presentation of the day, Brenner Adams from TruGolf.
Thank you very much. Thanks everyone here and everyone online. Appreciate it. And for those of you who are here in person, must be present to win. Apologize for those online. The best question today wins a mini simulator. It's a trainer. And basically it has two components. First is the haptic feedback. So if you listen, that helps you understand where to offload your kinetic energy stored in your body to try and get the most energy transfer to the ball as possible. Kind of cool, muscle memory. Then there's a Bluetooth sensor up top that sends all your club data to an iPad or to a PC, and you can play the best golf courses in the world. You can play kids games, Battleship, all kinds of fun stuff. So it's not only a great trainer, but it's a great tool to get other people into golf, which is really what we're all about. So I'll keep that up here as a distraction. So let's get started. Obviously, disclaimers. Let's talk a little bit about the history of TruGolf. I was just mentioning it here just a minute ago, but back in the 80s, TruGolf started as Access Software and developed golf simulation software on a PC for Commodore 64, then 386 Lynx LS, and then created the most successful sports PC franchise ever, and Microsoft bought the PC division in 1999. That studio then became the foundational studio for launch titles for Xbox. That's where I met the founder, Chris Jones, and his team, and kind of joined the team, so to speak, and actually got to travel to Tokyo with Bill Gates and launch the Xbox. It had a great time launching Xbox, Xbox Live, Xbox 360. And so this endeavor now, as TruGolf has developed over time, is now getting the team back together and really do some of the great things we did together back in Xbox. But you can see a long history here of software, hardware, notable greats in the golf industry, partnering with hardware providers to sell our software to them and to their customers. So over the years, our software has kind of become the default operating system, if you will, for golf simulation. But oddly enough, a lot of our customers, hardware vendors, realized the margins in the software, right? That didn't take very long. So as they've been developing software, we've spent the last 10 years optimizing and developing our hardware. So instead of just being neutral and sort of selling hardware on the side, now in the last 3 years, we've invested heavily in order to attack our hardware friends head on and really dominate the hardware space in addition to the software space. And why? Because this isn't just virtual golf, this is golf, right? The simulation solutions now, the technology is so far advanced that this is actually almost better than playing golf. Now, I have to be careful when I say that because outdoor golf is a religious experience. It is beautiful, right? I mean, the manicured courses, there's just nothing quite like being out on the fairway at 8 in the morning. It's a beautiful experience. However, we like to say golf easy. That's our mantra. Because guess what? Golf is not easy. Golf is full of problems. There are challenges. So while golf is growing, the number of participants in golf is growing, the number of courses is declining. It's expensive to run a golf course, to pay for the water and the fertilizer and the staffing. And there's so many variables. The economic model of outdoor golf is being challenged. It's also a steep learning curve. It takes a lot of time. I mean, how many times raise of hand, how many people golf here? Okay, raise your hand if you've had to wait at least 30 minutes on a hole in the last 2 years. Okay, you got to wait a lot, right? So getting through 18 holes, it can be difficult. So given those challenges for years, we've been saying the future of golf is indoors. So we've been making these still frames there you can see on the right, putting these in people's garages and basements and commercial facilities. And hey, the future's coming. It's going to be indoor golf someday. Well, that future is last year, 2 years ago, 2022. According to this chart, this is the National Golf Foundation. There were 15 million golfers in America who refused to golf on a golf course. Sorry, I'm allergic to grass and sunshine. I will never go to a golf course. While there were 13 million people who refused to golf indoors, purist grass only. So that flip has happened. But look at the hybrid, people who do both. So people who exclusively golf indoors or sometimes golf indoors, that's 27, nearly 28 million people. So the future is now. Indoor is not just virtual golf, it is golf. So for us to capitalize on that market opportunity, we have a 5-pillared strategic plan. First is hardware, which I talked a little bit about. I'll talk more about here in a minute because it's a critical piece of our innovation. By creating the most accurate or true to the sport of golf hardware, we can then unlock really the power of our software. So by creating almost a Reese's peanut butter cup, if you will, great peanut butter and hardware, great chocolate and software that are designed for each other, optimized for each other, the combination is greater than the sum of the parts. Now, when we have our own hardware, we have our own software. That means that as there's a proliferation of commercial facilities, a lot of these are 10 golf buddies or kind of sick of green fees or something. They buy 2 simulators, put them in a strip mall, give each other a key fob, and they golf whenever they want, right? So there's been a lot of these tiny little commercial facilities spin up. We've got just shy of 100 of them all just in America that are about 2, 4, or 10 of these. Well, we realize that a lot of them are trying to create the business model. They're making it up. They're doing a great job. We love them. But we realize there's an opportunity for franchise. So with our proprietary hardware and software, we've announced in a press release about 3 weeks ago the signing of Franchise Well. It's a franchise group, experts. They have 2 out of 6 PhDs in the world in franchise that are helping us take our hardware, our software, our business model, all tech out in a franchise rollout. We're pretty excited about that. FDD are shortly pending, so we're excited to get that done and get that rolling. So you can imagine if we have our hardware, we have our software, we have now a turf war, and we've rolled out hundreds of locations. What that enables us to do was something that one of our new board members, Riley Russell, he was the chief legal officer for Sony Entertainment for 30 years, so the most accredited human in the video game industry, period, bar none. When I asked him to be on our board, he shook his head and he said, "I'll be on your board for free. I am ashamed that while I was at Sony inventing esports, I didn't take my favorite sport, golf, and put it in front of basketball. Golf is the perfect esports experience." So we've developed what we call the VGA, the Virtual Golf Association, that allows people to compete cooperatively, competitively, online coaching. There's a whole platform of capability, knowing that it's our software and our hardware, that we can unlock to enable people to have amazing experiences anytime, anywhere, on any golf course in the world. Then our last pillar is data, obviously. So we like to say content is king, both through the courses as well as through the online experiences. But if content is king, then data is the queen, trumps all, right? And so as we're gathering millions of swings a day of data and millions of minutes of video replay of people swing and swing analysis, unlocking the power of that data to first improve people's golf swing and golf game, because we all need it, right? I mean, there might be someone here who's fantastic, but the rest of us are not that fantastic because golf is hard. Our goal is to make it easy by unlocking the power of that data. But then obviously as investors, we're hoping to capitalize on unlocking that data. So let's talk a little bit about our innovation, and on that path to those 5 pillars, the first 2 are hardware and software. So the reason we came to the public markets was to raise capital to help us expedite some of this innovation and then help us to market that innovation. Historically, for the last 3 years, we've done about 20 million in top line sales, and we spend 1 to 2% of that on marketing. So a lot of word of mouth, a lot of relationship sales, a lot of inside direct sales, and we just haven't spent a bunch. So now that we have this new innovation, we were hoping to go public last year, Q3, doing a de-SPAC. I've talked to some of you about our experience, right? It's difficult. It's just not easy. So it took longer than we expected. And so we finished that hardware without having to raise any capital. So the hardware was officially pushed in full pace last October. So we had a good Q4 with that hardware. And then the software has just released phase 1 of 3 just about 3 weeks ago. NASDAQ was kind enough to put us up on the tower. Congratulations, E6, announcing Apex. So those 2 pieces of innovation I'm going to talk just a little bit about. Was interesting in the investor speeches yesterday. There was a lot of discussion about microcap companies and looking for companies with fundamentals, looking for companies with opportunity for growth that have just maybe been beat up by the markets. And we believe we're right there, and we're looking for people to join us on the process of going from a market cap of 1x revenue to, as we grow, as we increase our sales, as we increase profitability, we've only lost money one out of the last 3 years. It was last year's. We're ramping up for the transaction. So we're very anxious to drive additional revenue and additional margin by leveraging these two innovations. So let me talk first about the hardware. Apogee is a ceiling-mounted device with stereoscopic recognition that allows us to actually measure, not calculate, we're not doing math, but measure through AI and machine learning the actual club and ball interaction with 9-axis rotation. So we can not only tell you where the ball would have gone in our software, so it feels right, but to give you the data so you can actually improve your golf game. And the camera system allows us to replay every swing, your club coming through and hitting the ball. It's amazing when you get to see, not have your golf buddy tell you what you did wrong. Thank you very much, right? We all hear that. But to actually see that your club face was open and the ball spun off to the right, and that's why. Seeing is believing. So this camera system allows us to be more accurate, but has brought some innovation into the market that no one else has. So voice, for example, if you want to call a mulligan, call it, just say, hey, Apogee, mulligan. If you want to change your club, hey, Apogee, 7-iron. Or pitching wedge, right? Whatever you need to get out of trouble so you can use your voice. Nobody else has that. We have a laser indicator that shows exactly on the ground where the ball should go, so you don't have to wonder, did it work? Was the ball in the right place? Most of our competitors and their software takes about 1 to 2 seconds from the time you strike the ball to see the ball flight in the game. Ours is less than 300 milliseconds because they were built together. But that laser tells you where to put the ball when the system is ready to go so you can swing with confidence and reduce your pace of play. Last thing we want to do is bring you in from the outdoors where it's slow and then make it slow to golf again. So a couple of key elements there with the hardware innovation. So the software innovation, as I mentioned, we've been doing this for a long time. For the last 10 years, we've been kind of famous for photorealistic golf courses. Now we have a competitor that literally takes photos and you golf through a slideshow. But what we do is have photorealistic recreations of accurate physics. So we try to be accurate to within 2 inches on the fairways, 2 centimeters on the greens. You can adjust your altitude, the elevation, the wind, the moisture, the speed of the greens. It's ridiculous, the variables you can adjust. And why? Because we want to make it harder? No. If you're going to go to Pebble Beach, if you're going to go to your favorite golf course, we would like you to spend some time in a simulator for 2 to 3 months and get familiar with every roll on that course, so that when you do go play, it is a religious experience. You're familiar, you're ready, you have a great experience outdoors. So you can capitalize on those few opportunities you get to actually play golf and play well. So Apex, our new software, is not just photorealism, but we've added technology from the TV and movie industry to create cinematic, dynamic living environments. Fish in the water, birds in the air, dynamic shadows and clouds bouncing through mountain passes. Really trying to, again, deliver that true to golf experience by delivering the splendor, the visual splendor that exists with some of these beautiful golf courses all around the world. The last piece I would mention, we just got back from the PGA show in January, where we announced to the world that we're filing a patent on aggregating 4 different sources of data in order to recreate through machine learning and AI every golf course in the world. It's been an arms race for the last couple of years. 100 courses, 200 courses, 300 courses. Well, we just announced that we have every golf course in the world, just shy of 40,000 golf courses, and takes us 10 to 20 minutes to build each one of those courses. So as we've won that arms war now, we're very excited about Apex and the ability for this visually stunning software with every golf course in the world to not just do that, but then to drive training and improve people's golf game by bag mapping and different tools and training and challenges that actually enable you to become a better golfer with every club in your bag. Here's an example of Lofoten, the furthest northernmost golf course in the world up in Norway, and this is in-game. Okay, that's an in-game asset. When you watch that ball roll through the long grass, being able to see the waves on the beach and the light bouncing off the moss on the rocks, I mean, the attention to detail is just absolutely stunning. So we're pretty excited. As I mentioned, Apex also, this latest phase 1 is all about the bag mapping and the dispersion and really teaching you how to use all the clubs in your bag so this is a view of the different training solutions available with the Apex range that just came out a couple of weeks ago. All right, so we talked about the first two pillars in the innovation. The third pillar then we talked about briefly is franchise. So our concept here is to take these small commercial facilities and expand it and give you something that isn't just a nightclub with a little bit of golf, but it is a golf training facility, but has something for everyone. Because from a franchise perspective, not only do we have software that will enable you to book and get in, we like to say 60 seconds to swing. We want to make the golfing experience, buying food, managing your memberships, all of that very easy. We've got a great floor plan, a couple of different designs to bring people in to experience golf in different avenues and with different types of entertainment experiences, visual experiences. But we're also one of the only ones in the industry that makes an arcade solution. So our multi-sport arcade also offers something for everyone in those venues. So if you want to play soccer or hockey or dodgeball with zombies or light gun games or football or pitching, we have arcade games available in any of those booths as well. This is something that our competitors also buy from us, a hardware and software solution that augments those who are only doing golf. So that gives us additional revenue streams and additional ability to tackle new markets. A couple of examples there. These are not simulations. They're just arcade style fun games. So when you have those tools that I've just talked about, including franchise, you've got your Apogee, your Apex, you've got our brand to sit over the top. We've got all the hardware company, 90% of hardware can run our software. We've integrated with them. As I mentioned before, it creates the ultimate esports environment. So from a virtual golf association perspective, we're very focused as we grow over the next 3 years to drill into this esports phenomenon and enable people to compete. One of the great things about having franchises is we control the hardware and the software. Compliance is a critical pillar of franchise, and that enables us to allow our franchisees to manage their hardware, the spec very carefully, so that we can have a fair competition for even big dollar ticket items, okay? So if you look at our various income models from $250, this little trainer I showed you before, the Mini, all the way up to a $50,000 premium simulator, we've got price points across the board to be able to handle not only customers at different price points, but partners and resellers at different price points, and to be able to sell all over the world based on size constraints or market fundamentals in those markets. So from a financial perspective, we just filed our 10K a couple of weeks ago. Our IPO was January 29th. So yes, we're new to this, so be patient with us. But so as we've got the numbers out, as I mentioned, we've kind of flattened out for the last 3 years in sales at just around $20 million. We added additional expenses of about just over 1.5 million in marketing and some hiring. We did do a little riff at the end of last year to kind of move some things off so that we could offset about $500,000 in expenses that we probably didn't need to carry this year. So we're trying to manage very carefully so we can get to profitability very quickly this year. And as we continue to grow, drive that profit margin up. As the hardware is done, the software is now phase 1 complete. So we've got a couple more investments to make in software, which is what we do, right? This isn't new to us. We've been doing it for 40 years. So really, we're leveraging that capital in our convertible note for growth, for global expansion, for franchise, and for marketing. So happy to go through numbers if you have questions later. But quickly, our leadership team, as I mentioned before, many of us were together at Xbox. So we're kind of bringing the team back together to scale this company up, and very excited to be back together with old friends and kind of doing what we were doing, just not for Bill Gates. Kind of fun to be doing it for ourselves. So it's a great opportunity to work with some great people who have years and years of experience from hardware and software, even a little bit capital markets with Sean Limbers, who was our EVP of Finance and Chairman of the Board. I mentioned Riley Russell, who was on our board, but also Humphrey Polanen, who was the CEO of the SPAC. So he's on our board, and we really work closely with Humphrey, talking through his years of experience in Silicon Valley and some of the exits that he's been involved with. And then AJ Redmer was with us at Xbox, so we're happy to leverage his experience. So I wanted to thank you for your time. Wanted to open up to a few questions and remind you, especially those who came in late, the best question this morning gets to take this home. $250 trainer will improve your golf game, I promise. So, questions? Yes. Phase 2 is late June. We're targeting Father's Day, and obviously we're watching that very closely. And phase 2 incorporates more challenges into the training mode. So what that does is enables our data to recommend 3 or 4 drills that you should work on. If your short game is terrible, why don't you work on some chip shots? So there's 5 or 6 little challenges you can work on and some video tutorials from the #1 PGA pros, I would say in the world. I'm a little biased. They're, US PGA of America coaches. Joe Howlett was #1 last year, so he will be helping add video content. So you've got tutorials. So that's phase 2 in June, and then phase 3 is September. Great question. In the back. So it started in home. So we've been selling simulators in home since 2001, our own hardware. So yes, we're putting it in people's basements and garages. In fact, one of the struggles we had, we rolled out a new portable product last year to replace some old aging hardware. And that ended up underperforming, about 1.7 million under our estimate from sales. So it's a really wide, beautiful, portable thing that can go in your garage, but most garage bays aren't 14 feet wide, right? So we're making some adaptations there. So yes, in home, all day, every day. Those custom simulators, we build out a home theater and convert it into a golf simulator like you've never seen. Do it all day. And then international, we're already there. In fact, we have MOUs signed with about 40 net new countries for international distribution. That's part of my role as Chief Growth Officer. I've done a lot of globalization work, actually worked for the Foreign Direct Investment Office in France, and so very familiar with that. So yes, global expansion is underway, and we're pretty happy about it. We've been in Canada for 8 years already. So, thank you. Yeah.
Focus more on the, like the institutions that golf courses of the world, or are you more focused on the retail golfers like myself who has a bigger garage? Where's your revenue breakdown from? Are you penetrated already so much in the institutional side of the golf course?
No.
Where's your focus?
90% is residential and commercial facilities. So as I mentioned, 2 or 3 bays in a strip mall.
They have one.
Yes. Yeah.
That's your 9%. 10%, something like that.
Nope, opposite. 10% is golf courses, golf academies. They've been slow to adopt. They kind of see it as maybe not offsetting their outdoor experience. So some of them have been slow to adopt. Some love it. They can see golf club sales double by just putting a simulator in, because you can see what difference the club makes right there. So, but 90% of our sales are to residential users or commercial facilities that are not golf courses. We market to them. We talk to them all the time. It's just not been a huge growth area yet. Okay. I don't want to say it's so politically charged. I'll just say that it hasn't been. I can't quite. Is that 1 minute left? Sorry, I'm going blind. Okay, so 1 or 2 more questions.
So, piggybacking off of the international play, you take, for example, cricket. Cricket is bigger globally than even the NFL or MLB or anything like that. Golf. Do you guys have the capacity to modify simulators for a more international appeal for other sports such as cricket? I saw baseball, I saw golf.
Pickleball. Maybe I didn't say that.
So,
yes, we have the capacity. Yes, we have interest and demand. Lots of people have been asking, but it's not part of our 3-year strategy currently. We want to crush what we're doing. We are TruGolf. Look, we're not just diehard golfers. We believe fundamentally that the character traits associated with playing the game of golf can make our culture better. Integrity, patience, frustration, all these things that when you struggle with a game that is the pursuit of perfection. So that's our primary focus. We are exploring other avenues like you saw with our arcade. So we have other experiences, but we haven't yet done a full simulation of anything else.
And I have a second part. As
Oh boy.
Here in Las Vegas, gambling capital of the world. And I know that there's so much deregulation around gambling, and I know that the real world experience in golf, guys will get out there and they'll say, hey, we putting 100 on this or what?
Every time.
You guys have the capacity or foresight to actually create a platform to where you can garner revenue by allowing people to literally compete and gamble against each other online.
Without disclosing too much, just because we have to be careful with public disclosure, that's probably the hidden context of the Virtual Golf Association, is to be able to compete. And when people compete, they're going to wager. So I'm not going to say that we're doing that now, right? But foresight, absolutely. We know that, I mean, we golf, right? That's what we do. Everybody wagers. So yes, we're very aware of that. We know there's a great opportunity there. And we're exploring it is probably the best way to answer that. And with that, I'm out of time. So I think the prize goes to the gentleman in the back with the international. Love that question. So come get your trainer. Thanks, everyone.